Hey friends, so in this video, I am going to be walking you through step by step exactly how to buy treasury bills at Fidelity. So if you don't know what a treasury bill is, watch the last video in this series. It'll walk you through everything that I know about treasury bills. But if you just want the how to and specific steps, that's what this video is for. I am going to be focused on buying treasury bills at new auction. What that means is I'm buying these treasury bills directly from the treasury when they offer them at their weekly auction. I'm not buying these on the secondary market. And the reason that I'm not is because I want to set up a T-bill ladder and I want to automate future T-bill purchases. So when you buy them on the secondary market, at least at Fidelity, you can't automate future purchases. And by buying them at auction, I will be able to do that. And so that's going to make my treasury bill ladder that auto invests in treasuries and continues to pay me interest without me having to do any work. Okay, so 6 steps in this video that we're going to go through. I'm going to show you how to find your auction, how to access Fidelity's brokerage page specifically for fixed income. We're going to place the order. I'm going to show you what that looks like after it's ordered. I'm going to show you what it looks like after the order is filled, which happens a few days later after the auction. Okay, so let's get into step 1, finding your treasury bill auction. There's a website, treasurydirect.gov, and you can search for upcoming auctions. And I will link that in the video description, but I will show you my web page now. And basically what you see are upcoming auctions when you click on this page. Okay, so key things that you're going to look for when you're on this page. First, on the left are your different treasury bills. So we've talked about the different durations in the first video. And what you can see here is the 13-week treasury bill, 26-week, and 4-week. Okay, so next, this is really important. This QSIP here. So this QSIP is the ID for the treasury bill. So this will be how you find the treasury on your brokerage. So it's really important. If you're interested in the 13-week T-bill, we're going to copy and paste this QSIP into your brokerage to be able to find it. There's a way to find it without the QSIP, but for me, this is actually the easiest way. So make note of the QSIP. Then what we're going to see are some different dates. First is the announcement date. And this is really critical. So before the announcement date, you will not be able to find these treasury bills on the Fidelity brokerage. And that's because they aren't available to purchase yet. So after 3 p.m. Eastern on the day of announcement, you should be able to find these treasury bills. So what I can see is that the next date for purchase and the announcement is on May 22nd. So that's actually yesterday, Thursday. So if I go into Fidelity's webpage today on Friday, I'll be able to find these. Now, the next key date is your auction date. So the next auction date is May 27th. So that is Tuesday. Now, I have to get my order in between basically Thursday, 3 p.m. on 5/22 and by about 9 a.m. Eastern on the day of auction. So I have all of these days in between. I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday where I can put in my order and Fidelity will purchase my treasury bill at auction. The next key date is your issue date. So that's going to be when the treasury bill is actually sold and available in your account. So the issue date is 5/29. Typically, it's 2 to 3 days after the auction. So the auction's on Tuesday and the issue is on Thursday of next week. Okay, so we found our auction on the treasurydirect.gov website. Now we're going to go to Fidelity's website to actually find that treasury bill. Okay, so now we are on Fidelity's webpage. So we're going to order our T-bill. So the first thing you're going to do is go to products and fixed income. So this is where we find any type of bond information. You're going to do search for investments. Now, there's a few different ways that we can find the specific auction that we want. First, if we go back, I'll use the 13-week T-bill for an example. The QSIP was here, so I can easily copy and paste this, which I will. So the easiest way for me is just to paste this in here and search by QSIP. Okay, now there's a few things that I want to call out about Fidelity's page, and I'm not sure if this is limitations of Fidelity or all brokerages in general. So one is you don't see any call out here for the 13 weeks. So when you go into Fidelity's page, you don't see that duration call out. The only way that you really know that it's the right one is by looking at the maturity date and knowing that August 28th is about 13 weeks from the date that the T bill will go to auction. And that's kind of annoying because if I go back one screen, if I go to new issues, which is where I want to go for all treasuries, I'll click on treasuries here. So if I go to this full list here, what you'll see are all of the different upcoming auctions for the treasury. But again, you're not able to see the durations. And so for me, the first time I was in this, I was pretty, it's kind of confusing because you don't see the names. The only thing that you have to go by is the maturity date. So you just have to keep in mind, okay, July 10th, how far is that from the date of auction in May? So you kind of have to do that manually, that the date. So for me, that's too much of a pain. So if you're like me, what you want to do is just search by the QSIP again, like we did, and then make your selection that way. Okay, so going back to the specific treasury bill I want. Now I could easily click trade here. And if I click trade, it's going to allow me to select the account and select the amount that I want to purchase. But let me go back. So if you click here, what you're able to see is some helpful information about the treasury bill. And I just want to break down some of this so that if you're new, it's not confusing. First is the expected yield. So what the expected yield is are the third party estimate of how much money you will make on an annualized basis for this treasury bill. The maturity date is just telling you how far you have to wait until the treasury bill pays you back, like we talked about in the first video. Now, let me talk to you about some things that are confusing that I actually called them about, and I got some helpful information. One is if you look at the issue date, it's February 27th, 2025. This was extremely confusing to me because, again, we don't have the name or the duration of the treasury bill in the title. We only have the maturity date to go by. But if you go and look at this issue date, well, this basically looks like it's 6 months from the time that it matures. So what the representative told me from Fidelity is one, the Treasury reuses these QSIPs. So it might be from an older QSIP that this was recycled from. So that's why these bond timelines, these dates don't match up to the date of the actual auction. So you can pretty much ignore what this is telling you because it's not really key highlights. It's not really telling you what you need to know. The only thing that you need to know are the maturity dates, and you know that it's the right duration that you want. So if you have the right QSIP, which we do, then you know you're in the right place and you can click buy. All right, so now let's go through the buy order. So I have selected the account that I want to purchase this from. Now, what's important here is that they want you to order the number of bonds, not the dollar amount. So let's say I wanted to order $1,000 of this T bill. I'm just going to put in one, and that's basically $1,000 worth. Now, this is critical. Make sure you select yes on auto roll if you want to set up automation. So when this 13-week T bill matures in 13 weeks, Fidelity will buy a new one on my behalf unless I tell them not to do that. The great thing is that after this one-time manual purchase, I never have to do this again. It'll just happen automatically. So we're going to click preview order. They do call out again, the quantity is the number of bonds. So I bought one, which is $1,000, and then you can click place order. So we've done the first 4 steps. We're going to go look at our pending order. But real quickly, I just want to hit on what you're doing in each of these steps. On the Treasury website, you're just finding the QSIP number for the duration that you want. Go to Fidelity's fixed income page in step 2, and then you're going to search for that QSIP that you found on step 1. You look for it after the announcement date, but before the auction date that's on the Treasury website. So if you search for it during dates outside of that range, it's not going to show up, which can get confusing. And finally, when you're doing the order, you're just going to do it in $1,000 increments, and you put in the number of bills you want. So if you want $1,000, that would be 1 bill. If you want $2,000, that would be 2 bills. And then make sure you click yes on auto roll. So that's going to enable it to be automatically purchased in the future. So now let's go to the pending order page so that you can confirm that what you bought is what you wanted to do. Okay, so I made a purchase through my cash management account, which again, if you haven't watched my cash management account video on why I like the cash management account, one of the reasons is because I can invest directly into this account on anything I want to purchase at Fidelity. So I was able to use spare cash I had to make this order, but I bought $1,000 of this T bill, and you can validate that it is the correct QSIP on the website. I can cancel this order anytime before the auction date at 9 a.m. Eastern on that date. So when we placed the order, we were really focused on the number of bills you wanted to purchase, and we bought one for $1,000. Here you'll see 1,000. That just means that it's a $1,000 of purchase. It's not 1,000 T bills at $1,000 a piece. I would have preferred if we just say quantity one, which is the number of bills, but it's pretty much the same thing. So the last thing that you want to check is just that you've enabled auto roll. So again, what that means is that when this matures here on August 28th of 2025, Fidelity will automatically buy me another 13-week T-bill. So I don't have to go through this purchase process ever again. And this is the first step into creating a Treasury bill ladder. Now, let's say you didn't want this T bill or you messed something up. I basically canceled it here just to show as an example. It'll say attempt to cancel and then verified canceled, and that happens immediately. So it was pretty straightforward to cancel. Now, let me show you what happens after the auction, after your order has been completed. So I bought a T bill at $25,000 of face value. And what I bought it for was $24,835. And so the difference is the interest that I made. So I made what, $165, and that was for an 8-week T bill. So that's how you make money on T bills. So now what I have set up is basically an auto roll so that every 8 weeks, this will automatically purchase the same amount and I will make a little bit of money each week that happens. So technically, Treasury bills auction at $100 increments. So for every $100 face value T bill, I bought them at $99.34. So the 66 cents of difference is basically my profit for every $100 T bill. All right, so here we are at all steps completed. So we found our auction, we went to our brokerage, we found our T bill, we placed our order, we made sure that our order was correct in the pending order page, and then we fulfilled our order, which is what appears a few days after auction. So now you are an expert at Treasury bills, and you can be an expert at Treasury bills whether you have $100 ordering from treasurydirect.gov directly, or $1,000 if you have a Fidelity account or any other brokerage. Now, part three is going to be creating a ladder, and you can think about literally the rungs on a ladder as you climb a ladder. We're going to buy our first Treasury bill, and then we're going to buy our second Treasury bill and our third Treasury bill. And we're going to space out our purchases so that the Treasury bills mature at the times and intervals that we want to be paid out on. And so I've created a free tool for this. I'm really excited to review it in my third video that kind of helps simplify a lot of this. It can feel overwhelming and confusing at first, but again, it's not that hard. And really, what we're going to be doing is just buying these Treasury bills at set times based on the process that we just went through. So if you have any questions about how to order T bills, please leave a comment below. If you're confused, I try to read all of my comments and respond to them. I really appreciate the engagement. Feel free to shoot me a like or subscribe. And again, visit my website where I will have my T bill planner tool accessed for free for anyone that signs up as a member. So again, I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope this has been a helpful tutorial for you interested in Treasury bills.